future Canadian, and welcome to day 8 of 10 of our Canada study visa secret. So in this video we'll be telling you or helping you understand how to calculate how much you need depending on whether you are sponsoring yourself or you have someone that is sponsoring you, and if your program is a year or 2 years. It's a very simple and straightforward formula with real calculations, so you know how to plan your proof of funds for your study visa application, so you don't get rejected for insufficient funds. Sometimes it might be that you didn't calculate this properly, maybe exchange rates adjusted and the funds were not enough, or your source of funds. We've spoken about all of this in our previous videos. Source of funds, maybe how you show it, even making sure that you have the required amount. So that's what this video is about, showing that you have the required amount, how to calculate that you have the required amount, and showing it. Now let's talk about the basic formula. So for you to determine how much you need, you sum up your tuition, which is also your school fees, and you see that on your admission letter. Then you add up your living expenses, so that's fixed for everybody. So tuition cost varies. So if it's a college or diploma program, if it's 2 years, you can be looking at a total of 28 to 30. So tuition is very simple and straightforward. Once by now you should have your admission offer, and if you don't have, before applying for the program, I'm sure you'd see the tuition on the school's website. So add that with living expense, and you can add an additional 10% just to cover up for things like transportation, maybe any extra cost or changes in exchange rates. So yeah, tuition, you know that you see that on your admission offer or on the school's website before you apply for admission, while living expense is fixed for everybody, and you can see the breakdown here. So if you are just coming by yourself, 22,895 Canadian dollars. So you can do the math, do the exchange rates to find out the exact amount that you need, because exchange rate varies and putting amounts in naira here might not be very accurate for your calculations. So just have it in mind. So this is fixed for everybody. If you come with a family, just yourself, that's so just you can take a screenshot of this, but it's to help to know your living expenses. So it's fixed for everybody depending on your family size, while tuition depends on your school and program, and you get to see that some people might get scholarship, some might get funding, things like that. So now the second thing we'll be talking about is how you calculate your proof of funds for if you are coming for a year program or if it's a 2-year program. Now this is the most confusing part. So when do you show proof of funds for 1 year, and when do you show for 2 years? Now you show for 1 year only, because the main requirement is to be able to cover for your living expenses and tuition for 1 year. You also need to talk about how you are going to cover the second year. It's important. You cannot miss that part out. If you miss it out, you could be refused because of that, and that is why we're making this video, so you don't get refused for POF and say, oh, I showed enough money, but the visa officer is asking, okay, what about the second year? How are you going to sort that out? It's important. So you can only show 1 year if you meet any of the following criteria, which you be seeing on this green side, so you can focus on that side with me. Now you meet at least one of these criteria. Your sponsor, which could be your parents, anybody that is sponsoring you, has shown that, oh, they are going to pay for your second year with evidence. They show that they are going to pay for your second year. That way you can cover only your first year tuition and living expenses, and you're good to go. If you have a spouse that stays in Nigeria and that spouse is working and they would support you while you're studying, you can show proof of funds for only 1 year. And when you say proof of funds, that's a tuition plus living expense. You can show that for only 1 year. If you have ongoing income in Nigeria, say a business, maybe you have property that you're renting, investment, things like that can be generating income for you while you are studying, you can only show 1 year. Do you understand? And if you've been granted a study leave where your employer will still be paying you, that scenario can also allow you to show only 1 year for living expenses and tuition fees. So have this in mind, so that you don't think, oh, they've refused you despite having the money, Canada is evil, they don't want me, their system is this, that, and start blaming the system without fully understanding the way it works. Now, if you are going for a 2-year program now, you need to know that if you don't meet any of the conditions for showing only 1 year, you should show 2 years clearly. So you must show the cost of the entire program. If you are leaving your job, there's no study leave, no guarantee income, you must show that you can cover the entire thing if it's a 2-year program. You must show full amount for a 2-year program. If both spouses are quitting their jobs and relocating together, you must show that you can cover the first year and the second year. If you are going with children, do you understand? You must show that you can also cover the first year, second year, if the entire family is relocating. So if you are self-funded from your savings only, there is no backup, nothing else, you must also show that you can pay for the full program. The basic thing there is understanding that for a 1-year program, it's pretty straightforward. 1 year living expense, 1 year tuition. For a 2-year program, that's when you need to now know that, okay, are you sponsoring yourself entirely, or would you have some form of support? If you are sponsoring yourself entirely, you need to show that you can afford the total 2 years and the total cost of living. Do you get? If you have some form of support in terms of maybe sponsor, your spouse, ongoing income, or you are getting paid while studying in Canada, then you can show only 1 year and say that, the remaining 2 years will be covered by either my sponsor or my spouse or my business or the salary from my job. Do you understand? But if you don't have any of that, you have to show the complete 2 or more years. So the main thing is about proving that you would have ongoing support for the second year of studying. That's how you submit a very good proof of funds, because they want to be sure that you can afford it without working in Canada. Do you understand? Yes, so if you have questions, you can leave it in the comment section, or just watch this video, this part again, so that you get what I'm explaining clearly. Now, moving forward, so this is how you calculate. So these are just examples, and you should not take the amount in Naira there as, that's how it is. They are just examples. So if you are single and you have a sponsor, let's say Chioma now, she's 24, she's going for a 2-year diploma, and per year is 14K. Father is sponsoring the rest of her education. So this is how she will calculate her own proof of funds. Tuition, 14,000 Canadian dollars. Living expense, let's assume it is 15,000. But at the point of making this video is 22,800 and maybe 95. You've seen it in the charts I showed you earlier. So this is it. So 22,895. So you can take a screenshot of this. It's fixed. Do you understand? So that's what we're doing here, is mainly for example. So yes, so we're looking at Chioma now. If you look on this side, Chioma is 24, she's coming for a 2-year diploma, per year is 14,000, and her father is sponsoring her. Do you understand? So if she wants to show her proof of funds, she shows tuition for the first year, she shows tuition for the first year, she shows living expense for the first year, and that's how much she's going to need. Then she will have to prove that her father is capable of sponsoring her by showing her father's bank statement, employment letter and pay slips, a sponsorship letter saying that he's going to cover her second year of studies. Do you understand? So can you see how clear it is, so you don't get refused? Now for the second year, this is for the second example, we're looking at single person that is self-funded, meaning they are the ones covering the entire cost. So we're using Tunde here as an example. Tunde is 28, he's coming for a 2-year diploma, which costs 16,000 per year. So he's leaving his job, no study leave, no source of income back home. So in order for Tunde to get his visa approved, now he has to show that he can cover the entire 2 years. His tuition, his living expense for both years, he has to show that. So you can see his own total is different. You will need to show his bank statements showing that he has that amount, and he would also need to show source of funds. That is, where did he get that money that he's using to sponsor his education. Now our third example is family and spouse. When you say family, spouse plus children plus the primary applicant. So I'm using Ada now, she's 32, she's coming for a 2-year MBA that costs 25,000 Canadian dollars per year, and she's coming with her husband plus child. Both of them are quitting their job, so in their own case they need to show that they can cover the entire 2 years living expense, and tuition, so they need to show that full amount. So are you getting it? So if you are not getting it, you can ask questions, watch the video as many times as possible. So this is very important, so you don't get refused for POF and say, oh, maybe it's village people, or maybe Canada is not serious and things like that. Understand the process very well is going to save you a lot, and you know how to channel your efforts properly. So for the fourth example, which is this, if one spouse stays and is working, so we're using Emeka now, got a 1 year postgraduate certificate program paying 18k Canadian dollars per year. His wife stays in Nigeria and she's earning 400k per month. So in his own case, he only needs to show tuition for first year and living expense for the first year, and he would say his wife would cover his second year. Okay, it's just a 1 year program, but if it were to be a 2 year program, it says his wife is going to cover the rest. Do you understand? So that's basically how it works, and you should have this in mind when applying. So if you have questions, ask. If you need clarification, you can watch the video as many times as possible. And if you are finding this video valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with others that would also benefit from it, and you can use the comment section to ask your questions. Now, these are the hidden costs that visa officers expect you to have that a lot of people just skip. Now, they expect you to have sufficient funds for flight ticket, because the proof of funds is not just about education and living expense. You need to add some extras to cover your flight tickets, or maybe initial settlements in case you are getting an apartment and you have to get some minor furniture or things there. Maybe things like health insurance, book and supplies. Just add extra. Not that if you need 40,000 Canadian dollars now, is that exact 40k that you show. Learn to add extra. Exchange rates can change. They just want to also see that you can afford your flight tickets. So yes, so you can add 3,000 to 5,000 extra to your calculations, or maybe make it percentage, maybe extra 10% to be on a safe side. You need to consider exchange rates. Use the official one, and you show more than the minimum to be on a safer side. And just consider all these costs. If you are going with family now, you know you need to show extra, because your flight ticket is going to be more. So you just show the exact amounts for living expense and tuition, that exact amount. Now the visa officer is wondering, how are you going to pay for your flight tickets? And you know, when you're dealing with a large family, you need more funds for all those things too. Now, part 4, where we talk about just a brief outline of how you prove that the funds are yours. So you show your bank statements, you show your source of fund. Now, this source of fund letter is still going to be your POF, where you give detailed explanation of how you accumulated the money you are using to fund your travel. You show your employment history, which is basically to show that, oh, you have a source of income. And if you're a business owner, you prove that your business is the one generating the revenue for you. If you sold property, you back it up, show ownership, show proof of ownership, proof of sale. If it's an investment, show how you got the money to invest, and also show that that investment will be available for you to spend when you need it. So if you are sponsoring yourself, you can get affidavits, everything to show that the funds is yours. And if you need help with your study visa application, reach out to us. So I'm sure by now you've watched this video, is eye-opening. You can go ahead and do it yourself, fine. But if you want to work with us, I'm sure this video would help you, would have taken you to a level of better understanding, so you can contribute better while we assist you with the process. Now, so this is just a reference, something to calculate. So if you are, so step 1 now, you need to know how much you are paying in tuition. Step 2, you multiply it by the number of years if you are funding yourself, if you are paying for it solely by yourself. Step 3, you add living expenses. You know, we showed you the charts. I showed you the charts earlier. Just pick the one that best suits you. Step 4, if your spouse is coming with you, all is still under living expense. Do you understand? So here now, this is it. Step 3 to step 5 is still under living expense, so showing your living expense. So step 6, you can add extra, maybe 10%, 5%, depending on what you are looking out for. Step 7, you convert to naira. So that's how you know how much you are going to show in naira. Do you understand? So if you are looking at examples here, now these are just examples. So moving forward, Now, the key takeaway from all of this now is that the amount you need depends on three factors: your program tuition and duration. The second one is whether you have ongoing support or you must fund it entirely by yourself. The third one is how many family members are going to be coming with you. So that's how you determine how much you need for the process. So you do the maths correctly, you show more than the minimum, and you prove where the money is coming from. So when you do this, officers approve, they are confident, and they see a well-planned application and a risk-free applicant, which is you. So in day 9, we'll be telling you, showing you how visa officers think, the main things they are looking out for, how to assess yourself based on these things, and make sure that your application will get approved. So if you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps us create more content like this. And your feedback points us in the right direction as to how best to help you relocate successfully. And if you have questions, use the comments, or you can reach out to us on WhatsApp, and we'll be glad to help you relocate to Canada successfully. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on our next video.